wall stenosis. Introduction. The mitral valve is located in the left side of the heart between the two chambers, that is between the left atrium and left ventricle, and blood is pumped from left atrium through the mitral valve and into the left ventricle. That is the common thing, physiology, and it's a way to aorta, and the normally healthy mitral valve allows blood to pass through, but it prevents it from flowing back. Definition. Mitral valve stenosis, also known as mitral stenosis. Here the opening is narrowed. You can see the diagram, the mitral valve opening is narrowed. That is called stenosis. What are the causes of mitral valve stenosis? So it's a congenital heart defect and mitral valve prolapse or any rheumatic fever and systemic lupus erythematosus or even other condition. And the rheumatic fever is rare in high income countries such as United States, and it's some low and middle income nations. And what it will do, the rheumatic fever, mainly it will be affecting the heart walls and leads to rheumatic heart disease, and that is what it finally leads to mitral stenosis. So the main cause for mitral stenosis is rheumatic heart disease. Coming to the pathophysiology. So what will happen here, due to the narrowing of the mitral valve, the blood in the left atrium will not be pumping enough to the left ventricle. So there will be an obstruction, so which leads to increased left atrial pressure. So what will happen, the more amount of blood will be there backflow in the left atrium, as a result there will be an increased left atrial pressure. So the left atrial pressure, the pressure is increasing, so here only mainly maintaining the left ventricle cardiac output. So as a result of increased left atrial pressure, there will be an increased pulmonary venous and capillary pressure. So as a result, there will be a backflow of blood to the pulmonary system, and there is an increase in pulmonary venous and capillary pressure. So here, this condition, the patient will be feeling an exertional dyspnea. And once the person develops the increase in pulmonary venous and capillary pressure, there will be a reflex pulmonary arterial constriction. So what will happen? There will be a decreased amount of blood flowing through the lungs, which lessens like pulmonary edema. So as a result, what will happen? There will be a pulmonary hypertension. The person will be going a right ventricle hypertrophy and final right ventricle failure. So due to obstruction, due to the narrow of the mitral valve, the blood will not be ejected from the left atrium to left ventricle. So there will be a backflow of blood in the left atrium. So the left atrium will be getting enlarged and it's increasing. So there is a backflow of blood through the pulmonary vein to the pulmonary arteries. That is the capillary pressure increasing. So overall, there is a pulmonary arterial constriction and the person is developing pulmonary hypertension, and again the right ventricle hypertrophy and right ventricle failure. Coming to the signs and symptoms. So shortness of breath, here the person will be feeling very difficult to breathe, that is exertional dyspnea, and mainly the breathing difficulty the person will be feeling after doing some exercise or at the time of exertion, and they may feel better when they are lying down. And fatigue, the patient may tired easily during increased physical activity. And swollen ankles and feet, mainly of course due to the blood flow is disturbed. And heart palpitation, patient may notice a rapid fluttering heartbeat. Fainting or dizziness, here the person will be feeling lightheadedness, or even sometimes they may feel a loss of consciousness during activity. And coughing of blood, there will be a sign of blood when they are coughing. And chest pain, the person will be feeling some type of discomfort in the lungs and chest. History collection. And at the initial stage, the most of the patient will be an asymptomatic, because only thing whenever they are doing any exercise or any strenuous activities, they will be feeling shortness of breath, unless and they will be feeling okay when they are being at rest. But however, factors that increase heart rate such as fever, severe anemia, thyrotoxicosis, exercise, excitement, pregnancy and atrial fibrillation, these all the things may result in dyspnea. And physical examination, here when we are palpating the chest, we can hear an unexpected awareness of the heart beating in the chest, and the person will be having a syncope attack. Sometimes the patient may have a chance of losing the consciousness in case they are doing any strenuous activities. And edema, clinically appearance edema, that is due to the accumulation of interstitial fluid. And you can see the change in the ECG, that the first one is normal P wave, and the second lead you can see that is the P mitral, that is denotes left atrial hypertrophy. And you can see that the P wave is looking lead 2, that the P wave looks like M pattern. M pattern, it determines that the person is having an atrial hypertrophy. And the third one you can see P pulmonale, that is right atrial hypertrophy. And finally that is retrograde P wave. And other diagnostic test, transthoracic echocardiogram. Here we will be monitoring the sound waves. That is a non-invasive procedure with the help of a transducer held on the chest, and the video images will be recorded in the monitor. And transesophageal echocardiogram, a small transducer attached to the end of the tube inserted down the esophagus allows closer to the mitral wall than a regular echocardiogram does. And electrocardiogram, that is the normal ECG electrodes will be placed on the patient's chest and the arms, and providing the information about the heart rhythm. And even the person we can ask the patient to do a treadmill or pedal a stationary bike during the ECG. That is what we will be assessing the heart response at the time of exhaustion. And chest X-ray. Chest X-ray, mainly we can determine whether there is any enlargement of left atrial hypertrophy or right ventricular hypertrophy. Coming to the cardiac catheterization, and this test mainly we will be inserting a catheter, a thin tube catheter through the arm or groin. After giving a local anesthesia, we will be puncturing the arm or groin by cystine gauge needle. Then we will be inserting a sheath. Through the sheath, arterial sheath, through that we will be inserting a thin tube catheter. Through the catheter we will be injecting a dye and pushing the dye in order to visualize the arteries, that is the stenosed area. It will be very visible, and we can monitor it everything by a cardiac catheterization. And here we can also even record the pressure readings of each chambers. Coming to the treatment. In case the patient have mild to moderate mitral valve stenosis with no symptom, there is no need of having an immediate treatment. And medications, there is no medication available to correct mitral valve defect, because since it is a congenital. However, certain drugs can reduce the symptoms. That is diuretics, mainly to reduce fluid accumulation in the lungs or elsewhere. And blood thinners. Blood thinners, mainly we can give anticoagulants. Anticoagulants to help prevent blood clots, that is heparin we can give, or daily aspirin tablet we can prescribe. Mitral valve repair. Mitral valve replacement procedure to treat the mitral valve located between the left heart, that is between left atrium and left ventricle. Here you can see the mitral valve repair surgery. There will be including a patching holes in a valve, reconnecting valve leaflets, and we can also remove the excess valve tissue so that the leaflet can close tightly, replacing the heart, support the valve, and overall it will be giving the support structure and separate valve leaflets that have fused. So here what they are doing, they are separating the leaflets which it's fused or narrowed. The side, or even the surgeons often may tighten or reinforce the ring around the valves. That the procedure is called annuloplasty. The next is mitral valve replacement. So mitral valve replacement, doctor removes the mitral valve and replaces it with a mechanical valve. That is an artificial valve or a valve made from cow, pig or human heart tissue. You can see the mechanical valve or the artificial valve. And this biological tissue often eventually need to be replaced and degenerate over time, and even the patient is undergoing a mechanical valve replacement. They have to continue the blood thinning medications for the rest of their life to prevent further blood clot. And finally, the nursing management. You should monitor the vital signs, and main thing, universal precaution, because most of the patients after valvular surgery will go for infection, sepsis. That's what the main thing we have to concentrate on, universal precaution to prevent infection or to prevent further endocarditis or decrease rheumatic fever. Then symptom management, if the patient develop any symptom, that should be managed. Then monitor any signs and symptoms of deep vein thrombosis, and elevate the legs above the heart to improve the venous return. Monitor fluid intake to avoid fluid overload. Assess ECG, monitor INR. INR should be less than 2. And listen to the lungs, as pulmonary edema is common, and the heart sound. And if the mitral stenosis is present, the SN sound will be loud. And encourage diet and educate patients on the disease and surgery. So if the patient is undergoing a surgery, and we have to reassure the patient by showing the other patient, and we can give psychological support. Thank you.